Hi, Divya. I saw that you were sharing your screen there for a second.
Hello. Yeah, sorry, did that make something happen that shouldn't?
No, not at all. We are broadcasting onto Facebook, but everyone knows that it doesn't start for 12 minutes, so it's fine to do the setup now. But that
Okay.
seemed to work fine. I could see your presentation there.
Yeah, thank you. How do I just so for example, at the moment you see me
Yes?
and now so I don't want you to see all the slides. I do have it on slideshow. Let me see what's going on here. Do that. Okay. Now let's see what you see when I gives me a separate thing. Do you okay. Are
Yeah,
you
so
am
I'm
I
putting your video underneath and the PowerPoint presentation big.
say that again?
So the PowerPoint presentation takes up most of the screen and your videos appears small underneath.
Okay,
I
you can see me?
can, yeah, I can see you. I can make that so you're not visible at all or that the PowerPoint
No.
presentation is all,
Yeah.
we can change the size.
Okay. Of the presentation, you can change the size, you mean?
Yeah, of
Or
the ratio between your video and the presentation.
okay. This was not meant to, I put it so that it doesn't move. It's going through slides without me. I wanted to be able to control the slides. It shouldn't be on the should be on manual settings. So I just want to sort that bit out. And sorry if you just answered the question, but so I can't see myself on the screen when I'm sharing. Is that correct?
Yeah, you can't see yourself, but participants can see you.
Okay. Okay. So I am there. That's fine. I
You are.
think it's nice that they have a little head. See, it just keeps moving. I want it to. Does this have a pause function on the share? See it?
Um, Not on the share, it'll just be through the PowerPoint.
Yeah, exactly. Why that's misbehaving. I'll try and just figure that out right now. Slideshow, action buttons. Hmm. Okay. It should be fine. Um, start. See, is that holding now? That looks like it's sitting better. I'm not going to touch that. All right. I mean, it's not the end of the world, is it? But um, so so through all of that, you were seeing me fiddle around because I hadn't actually pressed. Was that
Yeah,
correct?
you
Yeah.
haven't pressed screen share, so I just saw your video through that.
Thank you. And you can hear and see me okay?
Yep, your audio is great.
Cool. I got a microphone. Hopefully you can't hear my neighbor's awful music.
Not at all. No.
Good.
What is it playing?
Oh, I don't know why I'm bringing this up to get myself agitated, but they do it every weekend. They just, from morning to night in the garden, ever since lockdown. Yeah,
Tough.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
very lucky here in that I don't have neighbours. Uh,
Fantastic. Yeah.
we
Where are
we
you?
do have people that hang out down the well at the bottom of the road, so occasionally there's
Okay.
drumming or flutes coming up and that sort of thing.
Oh,
But
drumming and flutes. Where in the
yeah,
world are you? Are you in
I'm in
Somerset?
Glastonbury.
You're
Yes,
in.
I'm in Glastonbury.
Oh, lovely, lovely. Cool. And anything else I should know or I know it's obviously a warm day where you are as well as me, so I know we might not get as many people might be going out and
Yeah,
playing in the but
people
you're
might
in
be playing in the garden.
yeah, but you're international, aren't you? So
Yeah,
who knows who knows.
we've had a few people that are coming to every single session.
Uh right. Nice.
Some fans.
Cool. And so yeah, just around 50. Yeah, so I will make it interactive, of course, and but I'll also try not to do anything too clever just while I'm getting used to everything as well. Um, So how I look at the chat, event chat, that will come up automatically on the sidebar, will it?
Yes. Yeah, when people start talking, you'll see a notification there. But if you'd prefer me to read out the chat or the Q&As, then I'm happy to do that.
No, that's cool. And so that will just run on the side and I can see, because there's definitely a few times I'll check in with people and just note what they're saying. So that will just show itself on the,
Yeah. Would you like people to be visible during the session? Sort of if we start by asking if they'd like to have their videos on, raise their hand, and we'll make them visible.
Where would that show from my side? I'm just wondering how it would
so it would show in a sort of a row of small videos underneath. I think similar to mine, you would have a panel of videos, but not when you're screen sharing.
Not when I'm screen sharing, then it'll go to the screen share and me as a little box.
Yeah.
How are you finding that's working? Do people want to do that?
We found that quite often we don't get anyone raising their hand, but sometimes we have one or two. But yeah, there hasn't been a massive uptake with people willing to put their videos on.
I think for now, then I'll leave it because then it might distract the majority who,
yeah,
and they might think, who are those couple of people?
Okay, so we've got people starting to come in. Welcome. We're going to be starting the session properly in about 6 minutes, letting everyone come from Vincent's session and get in here.
Great. And you need me to complete by 12:50, is that right? So you have
12:50, so that it gives them 10 minutes to go into the next session.
Yeah. Give them a little breather. Cool.
Good afternoon, Krista. She's very excited. It's her first session today. If anyone coming in wants to just post in the chat, where are you coming in from? Are you in England where the sun is shining on you quite strong, or where else in the world are you today? I'm also going to post some links in the chat, so if you're not already involved, please do join our Facebook group. It's the community for the Embodiment Conference. You can make suggestions, teachers that you'd really like, and just talk about how much you loved these sessions over the weekend. All right, we've got Marika from Canada, Krista from the Netherlands. Oh, Marika's just about to watch the sunrise. Lucky you. I haven't had a sunrise in a long time. Also, embodiment circles, which will be daily practice in the lead up to the conference. They'll be via meetings, so you can see other participants face to face. And you can get recordings of this and all of the other embodiment conference talks on the Embodiment Conference upgrade, as I've just posted. But they will be available for free for the next 3 days. So if anyone's watching on Facebook, but they really need to get out into the sunshine, then it will be available to watch later. I am from England, Marika. I'm in Glastonbury, England. Sorry, Divya, you were about to say something.
No, I was just going to say this can be enjoyed in the sunshine as well. So if you have that opportunity, I'm in my little studio But you might be outside. That's fine too. Going to rain all day in Toronto. Ah, well, we know that feeling, Rebecca, here in the UK. Just not today.
Yeah.
London's lovely and sunny today. Thanks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We have our Indian summer, the September heat wave.
Yeah. It always makes me smile. I mean, I say Indian summer too, but an Indian summer is usually just monsoon. So I don't know where this phrase comes from, but you know.
Well, it's having the sunshine later after the rainy summer, and then you get the sunshine in September.
Right. There we go. That set me straight. I like your mug, Steve. Very good. Very natural product placement. Fantastic. Yeah.
Steve is completely branded, head to toe. Have you got the tattoo?
I just pretend I'm drinking from it, you know. Yeah, let's do
it. Oh, yes. Who is going to be the first person to get an embodiment conference tattoo? Is it going to be you, Steve?
I wouldn't be surprised if Mark brought a tattoo us to the embodiment castle conference castle that it's I'm getting. Oh, that would be silly.
Anika was asking about replays from yesterday and whether they've been uploaded. Steve, do you know, are they on the portal?
Yeah, so some people seem to have some trouble watching them, so I've alerted tech to this. Yeah, so in the portal, if you go to the top right, there's a thing that says watch, and you click on the channel that it's from. So say it's from like Intimacy and Relationships, so it's Adam Wilder. And then there's a bit where you can click on recorded sessions and then click on each one that was there. But for some people, that page isn't loading properly, so I'm trying to get it worked out on WhatsApp to the tech a lot. Yeah, I'll shut up because Divya's going to start in 20 seconds, or you'll introduce her.
Yeah, I'm going to introduce Divya. So Divya is getting my thing up. She's a senior accredited Yoga Alliance teacher, professionally trained mindfulness facilitator. She specializes in teaching yoga from a yin, restorative, and hatha perspective. And she finds power and support in classical Indian yoga teachings, Chinese well-being philosophy, and modern-day psychology. So she's joining us from London, and she's going to be leading a meditation. So looking at the different types of meditation, why we should meditate, and guiding us through 3 different meditation practices, leading to ways to bring meditation into your life. So Divya, over to you.
Thank you, Yolanda and Steve and everyone who's made this possible for all of us. And welcome to all of you joining this session. So I was smiling, you might have seen me with that introduction, because it was mainly yoga, and then you were informed that you're here to learn about meditation, when actually we're just going to sit. And I'm actually, when I was thinking about what to share with you, I was thinking about how, yoga and meditation are everywhere. And certainly from the meditation aspect, this has become a thing, if I can put it in such simple language. But it occurs to me, it's out there, but either people are struggling with it, with a practice, or maybe just getting into that zone, or they try it and they leave it. Or perhaps even meditation becomes another distraction in itself. All things that I've experienced myself, for sure, over the years. And this session is, it will interest you from any number of angles, and I'm quite sort of interested to see where you might be coming from at this, because you may have seen the title, no doubt, Just Sit. So this session will hopefully speak to you if maybe you have tried meditation and thought, it's either not for me, or it's just not working for me. Or maybe you haven't quite got to that point of trying to develop a practice, or maybe not tried it. Maybe you're skeptical. Maybe you think you don't need it. Although I suspect if you think, it's just totally not for you. Maybe you're not on this session, but who knows? Maybe you're doing something else I don't know, pumping weights or something else, but that's fine too. But then there's also, hoping that maybe there are some of you that do have a meditation practice, but maybe in yourself, maybe there's an honesty there of the challenges that brings. And so these are things that I'm hoping to share with you today that I don't hear talked about much. And so hopefully there's some kind of support. And it could be that this is an alternative to meditation for you, what we're going to explore. It could be that it just helps you reframe the practice. But above all, maybe we can, between us today, remind ourselves why we even might want to contemplate this whole thing in the first place, whether you call it meditation or whether in this session I'm calling it just sit, whether you don't call it anything at all, just bringing it back to that whole why. Why do I even need this in my life? Why am I even on this session at all? So that's where I'm coming from at it. And I'm also going to be sharing and attempting, and excuse me if I'm a little bit slow with this, some slides. The slides will be pretty much just picking out some highlights from what I'm saying, and you can receive this information just as you are. So hopefully it's not going to kind of tax your brain or anything like this. In fact, you could take this whole session as a meditation and just receive it as almost like a Dharma talk, or just a sharing of a talk, and see where that lands. That would be fantastic in itself. So if you give me a moment, and let's see what comes up here. There we go. So meet this moment as it is and as you are. A nice little phrase, I think, which I just thought encapsulates for me what just sit is, perhaps transferable even to this idea of meditation. And this is, I guess, a sort of a culmination of years of trying meditation, going to this teacher, trying that school, dropping it, picking it up again, ultimately finding actually not all I need to do, but what is being presented here is this opportunity to just drop in like a pin being dropped right where you are, and to meet it as it is. So that's what I would say Just Sit is about. And before I tell you a little bit about what's brought me to this moment of even sharing this talk, I thought we would do a Just Sit. Let's see how we all feel right now if we attempt to meet this moment as we are. If I say no expectation, bear that in mind, but of course we have expectation, and that's part of it. I think behind me I've even got a little bowl, so let's use it. And this is going to be for 1 minute, okay? Just 1 minute, so just as you are, meet this moment as you are. And we'll use the sound of the bowl. It's a nice sound just to start the beginning of the minute and the end, and then I'm going to check back in with you. So no instruction other than meet this moment as it is and as you are. Twenty seconds more. So that was a just sit. That was a practice. And we'll come back to that, or certainly I'll refer to that as we go along. But I would just say if it felt like a lot was going on for you internally, it'd be very normal. So, even in 1 minute, all that activity, maybe even just finding a seat, very normal. But as I say, we'll just leave that as it is for now. And it might be a little reference point as we go along. So I do teach. I've been teaching for a while, whatever constitutes a while, the yoga and the meditation. I wanted to just briefly take you through so far my relationship to meditation. It'll put into context what I'm sharing now. Also, I know we're all a bit nosy. We would like to know about each other, and why is this person here talking to me on a Sunday? Anyway, where is she coming from? So just hopefully a little background on that. So actually my meditation journey started almost with my yoga one. That's not always the case, I know. I was just, whether these things are coincidence or not, the first ever yoga class I went to, which was in 1999, the teacher brought in some meditation at the end. So that was that. But I have to say, a few years following that, my main interest, surprise, surprise, was in that body bit, the movement bit. But, there was this little segment of just sitting at the end, as well as the relaxation. It was when I went to India, and there is quite a journey from that to India, which I won't bore you with right now. That's a whole other podcast and story. But eventually, it's in the early 2000s, or no, about 2003, 4. I like numbers, by the way. So 2003, 4, I was in India, and I was there for 7.5 months. Told you I like numbers. But anyway, on the 7.5 months, it was a course that ran 6 days a week. It was a yoga course, but actually every day of these 6 days a week was topped and tailed with meditation. And we had an hour in the morning, morning meaning 4 a.m. to 5 a.m., which is not just early, but for someone like me that doesn't get up early, that was, shall we say, a little bit tricky. And then we'd do study and practice, and then we'd have an hour of meditation at sunset, which might sound lovely, but that was lethal, not just for the fact of sitting for an hour after you've been studying and practicing all day, but where I was doing this course was hot. There were no fans or aircon, and mosquitoes utterly loved me. So basically that hour at the end of each day was, me being a Mozzie fest. So I did that for 7 months, and came back, and as maybe to be naturally expected, thought, well, I'm actually not going to just sit for an hour or even 2 hours every day over my life. I've done that. I've got my qualification and what have you. The meditation we were receiving had barely any guidance. It was sit and then end. So fantastically non-interactive. So you can imagine how that didn't necessarily leave a wonderful, lasting impression meditation-wise. So I kind of left it. I kept up this little bit of just a sitting segment, if I can put it like that, both in my class and practice. I didn't call it meditation, and I just sort of left it like that. Then sort of moving on, meditation itself is becoming a thing. I think I said that at the start. More people are talking about it. It's been offered here and there. Internet's growing. Eventually there are apps, although that's a fairly recent sort of way of getting us to meditate. And I guess being in the yoga world and hearing all about this, to be very honest, I felt like internally obliged to try meditation techniques, get a meditation practice going. Right from sort of hardcore sitting in silence through to going to the Buddhist centers around London, through to silent retreats, and then all the other sort of stuff, which I now call distraction, if I may, but with music, with crystals, with this and that and everything. So that was like, I'd say like a 10-year journey of in and out and in and out of meditation, often fooling myself that I was doing it. And I describe it as it feels like it was the medicine, like doing the yoga, even though we know yoga is meditation, separate topic, but if I can just, for purposes now, doing the yoga, I could get into it and all of that. And like many of us, when we feel in the body, this is helpful. Not always, but it is. But that whole meditation had just become, there's, resistance, hard friction. And I do know, because having talked for a while, that I'm not alone in this, and that actually even people who practice regularly, and I know this because they email me, they're struggling. There's such angst, particularly when they get an opportunity to share it. Of course, there's the other end, people who, meditation is their sort of dream life almost. It's that part of their day or night, that they just wait for and they drop in and what have you. And so that's there too. But I just felt that, at the end of the day, I felt that it was too contrived. And so eventually I dropped it. I dropped meditation, and just tried to be present in daily life. I say just, but isn't that something in itself? Then about 4 years ago, I bumped into somebody. Her name is Mia. And I didn't literally bump into it, but yeah, I encountered this lady in a well-being show that was taking place in London. And there was something about her. I didn't know who she was. I didn't know what she did. A very unassuming, and I mean that respectfully, lady. And there was something about her in this busy, crowded well-being show. And I had a conversation with her, and it turns out she's a mindfulness teacher. Now, I had a lot of preconceptions about mindfulness and how it's being presented, and I'd certainly not dismissed it, but I just felt it was another thing now, another technique, another almost, thing to do. So I hadn't really engaged in it before that point. But I was having this conversation with Mia, and what I realized was I wasn't really listening to her words, but I felt fully present in her company. And there was something, tensions released in me whilst we were speaking and then afterwards. And there was just this impression that had been left within me. So fast forward, I ended up doing a training with her for a year. She was my tutor and supervisor. We were a small group. And we did a mindfulness training, which involved meditation practice. But it was a bit broader than that. It was looking at how we meet life every day and techniques and so on. And it was a total game changer. In retrospect, I think meditation was a game changer from the moment I met Mia, if that's not too big a statement, but definitely doing training and practice and learning, and really understanding a couple of things, like what goes on inside of us when we try and meet the present moment as it is, like we just did in that first minute. But crucially, what are all the challenges to that? Having compassion for that, allowing for that, and then what? So understanding what's going on, meeting it, having some self-empowerment to then hold the challenges that come with just being in the moment as you are. Because if you don't know how to meet that, then that's, I think, when it goes apart. But also not holding on too tight to the whole point of it in the first place, which is where I think we get caught up. The upshot of which is, well, I guess it depends when you engage in these things, but you feel a shift without actually trying to look for it or working hard at it. And so that sort of takes me to where I'm now kind of, I'm not going to say reborn meditator, but it is now, it's wholly part of my life. It doesn't feel like medicine anymore. I try not to be evangelical about it, and it's one of the reasons I've not called this session How to Meditate. There's enough of that, you can find that out there. because actually how I want to share what I'm sharing with you now, I also want to hold lightly, and I want you to hold it lightly. Because I think as soon as we start thinking, oh, this is what we have to do, or this is what she did, and now she's like this, I think it already brings in a tension and a friction and an expectation. And those are the very things we're trying to soften and let go of. Hence, just sit. Okay, so that's me. I had something on a slide. You see, I end up talking and then miss it. But let's see what I was going to share. Here we go. We got that bit in. Oh, that's just a random shot of me in India doing that 7-month training, looking very dirty.
And sharing your screen at the moment.
Sorry?
You're not sharing your screen at the moment.
Ah, thank you. Okay, thank you. Let me try again, guys. It says to me sharing, and then it says stop sharing. So I'll try again. I can see you, Yolanda, by the way. You're on my main screen. Did you know that? Start sharing. How's that? Can you see it? Hopefully you can.
No.
No. Okay. It's saying it is sharing it, Yolanda. And I've got a bar at the top saying stop sharing. So there's something. Let's see if there's any chat.
I might suggest as well, if I imagine it's a PowerPoint you're trying to show.
Yeah.
So would you be able to maybe exit, if it's like press escape or something to exit any full screen modes, because that sometimes messes with things. I don't imagine it's that. And then maybe stop screen sharing and then reopen. If not, we can also share the PowerPoint because you sent it through to us.
Sure. So it is saying sharing. Let's try again. And if not, guys, you'll just get me talking again. Anything you see now? No?
No, still not sharing.
Ah, what a shame.
We can share it for you if you'd like, because we've got your PowerPoint, so I can share it if you'd like.
Okay, I'm going to try one more time. Anything now? Take that as a no. Yeah, it's saying you're sharing your screen. Okay. I don't want to keep our friends hanging here.
Which number slide would you like, and I can share it for you.
Thank you. Do you have it up there, Steve?
Yeah.
So just so everyone's wondering what on earth the picture I was referring to, I think it is number 3. It's basically the photograph. It's number 3 or 4 of me standing with my teacher.
You can, if you want, you can continue very slightly. It's just taking some time to.
Okay. So guys, thank you and sorry for that interruption. Let's see where we can heading. This will test me. Let's continue to share what I want to share without the slides. So I wanted us to, a lot of this will just be reminding to just reaffirm, almost just taking a step back, why we even want to entertain having a sitting, a meditation, anything like that, or just even dropping in for the moment into the present moment. Why would we even want to do this? I suspect there's something instinctive about it, but actually there's a lot going on in everyone's world, internally, but specifically externally, that I think makes this actually quite an imperative, that makes this more than even optional now to do something like this, to just drop into the moment, because of just what we're all exposed to and what we're dealing with. So I will refer here, our friends here on our session may not see what I am, but I am just going to share a little list, and I'll just read it out, and hopefully it's clear enough and you get a sense of the idea. So I'm going to refer now to just sitting. Okay, so rather than interweaving or interplaying between meditation and just sit, I'm going to refer to just sit. Why might we just drop and sit? So in no particular order, to unplug from the current that keeps us in autopilot. Okay, so I think that's pretty universal. It's a human trait to get just lost or in a flow, which is a little bit different from being in the zone, because there's some part of you that isn't actually totally awake and aware. So to unplug from that autopilot trait that we all have. To break the circuitry of constant overthinking. Okay, so again, these are things totally universal. So it's all very well sort of sitting here and telling ourselves, yeah, I get lost in my thoughts, I think a lot, I'm an overthinker. And I think people who are even drawn to these kinds of practices, mind-body practices, we tend to be overthinkers already. And so then when you ask us to pause, it's like, so it's to just give a little break to that. To internally shift like gears from doing to being, which I guess you are gauging with a lot through this conference and all the sessions here. I guess that's a common theme. I like this next one. To just sit, it gives space to an emotional thought that's there. And I like this because often the suggestion is that we should be clearing, getting to a place of emptiness or being able to dissolve something that's strong or overwhelming. But what about just giving it a container, a space? I've got here regaining connection to your center. I hope that's understandable, whatever, word or words you relate to in terms of your center. I like the next one as well. You're like to like your own ideas. Just giving yourself the time to breathe. Now, of course, we're always breathing, but breath gets stuck, here, everywhere. So you just sit, boom, and there's just something about all those little knots already have a chance to unwind. And then it's not only an opportunity, but it's a very deliberate decision to meet the wealth of overwhelm and stimulation that we're all subjected to with an opposite. So, whether it's demands on your time, attention, stimulation, fast, busy, modern life, wherever you live in the world today, it's hard to get away from that. Well, how about then just offering to that and with that something that's the opposite? And the opposite is that meet the moment as it is. It's not even saying you have to be still or empty. You just offer something that is its contrast, the yin and yang, as they say. And what I suspect is, and see if I can come out of this now. What I suspect is that you will have your own reasons, like we all do, whether they pertain to where you are in your life right now. Usually we've got some situation going on and there's something that we feel we need to support us in that. Or some of what I just shared out aloud, maybe you understand that or read that in your own way, and hopefully that's the case, because nothing I'm sharing here is, definitive, and just receive it in the way that it works with you or applies to you in your life. So I did want to use this session as well. I know this is an embodiment conference, but fond of information. To just elaborate a little bit more about this, the fact that we're living in an age of overwhelm and stimulation. Now, I suspect you're all smart people just for choosing to, engage in a conference like this. So you'll be aware already of, even if not the hardcore numbers, just device addiction and, information overload, and how in a relatively short span of time in the timeline of human history, a lot has happened very quickly. And as much as you can potentially change your life, job, whatever, move to here or there. It's in the ether. And I suppose in sort of underlining this for us today, I am being a little bit cheeky in that I'm hoping this motivates us a little bit or reminds us a little bit when maybe we think, you know what, I am in autopilot, so what? Or, you know what, I am an overthinker, so what? If we can remind ourselves of the background of which we're all operating in a soft, gentle way, that might kick us back into touch and think, actually, this is important, right? Because what's happening around me seems to be the norm, and I'm just going to be lost and swept up in that if I don't take these little steps. So I just wanted to share how some of these changes that I mentioned that have happened very quickly and a lot all at once. So multitasking, again, it's a human trait, but we know through ample studies how, whoever you are, man or woman or whatever your wealth status, multitasking has become the norm. Now, of course, you can get a lot done when you multitask, but we know that it's not good for your health. We know that it makes your stress hormones rise, and that leads to a whole host of other things. And if your stress hormones are high for a long period of time, that's when your brain functioning and then even how you feel begins to get negatively impacted. We live in a 24-hour culture, don't we know it? So, up until only like the 1900s, really, you had no choice but to go to bed, and your senses weren't stimulated. And now, well, it's the complete reverse. We know the world is on always. Connected to that, however much you decide to switch off your phone or what have you, or go to a silent retreat or whatever, we are wired up to send and receive information constantly. And why wouldn't you want to receive information or learn something new or see what someone is saying? So none of this is to make us feel bad. It's just what's happened very quickly, as I say, and at volume and to a faster and greater extent than I think even those who created these mechanisms would have desired. Side note, I learned yesterday that the guy who designed the iPad, so not Mr. Jobs in his pod, the guy who designed the iPad, from day one refuses to let his children use the iPad. So, right. So, these guys know what they're doing. Yes, I had to get this in some way. Capitalism. So, so there, alongside the greater speed of communication is the volume of, and a lot of that is making people money. So this propagation of the need to engage, we might be being told it's sort of for our our knowledge, our personal development, to get ahead, our status, but behind that, people are gaining from that. So no wonder, there's more opportunity and people will take it to get involved in that. I've put here that, we're living, there was this sort of psychology age that we entered into post the 60s. Which is great because we began now to investigate more about who we are, why we do what we do, and the roots of that. And then the tech age has come in. We've not left the psychology age, but now we're in the tech age. And you put those two together, it can make you very if not absorbed, centered. And I do not mean that negatively, but it seems that everything is set up to constantly shine the spotlight on something within us that needs something more or needs to change something. And so, that also, it isn't just, having where I'm going with this, a busy lifestyle or family to look after or job or, food to put on the table. We're now dealing with all of these other components that really make up the world today. If that makes sense. That's what we're dealing with. What are we going to do is the point, right? We can't draw back time. We can't sort of erase technology. We know too much, about ourselves and about the world. Of course, that's ongoing. So what can you do? What can we right now do? And that just comes again. Well, we can just sit, because that and what that embodies is the complete antidote to the rest, for that long list of things that I've just shared, and other things that I'm sure you can think of. So hopefully that's coming through. Can I even see your chat? Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, so we've got chat. Thank you. I'm just checking in that I don't want you to think I'm ignoring you, lovely people. I'm dealing with wanting to really engage with you, realizing you can't see my lovely PowerPoint, and then also staying on track, because I'm a chatterer. For someone who likes to just sit quietly, I don't have chatter. So I need to keep on track. There's other lovely people you need to hear today. It's like I've got a little notebook here, actually. Here we go. All right, so hopefully some of that is landing and meeting you somewhere. I had some more slides on showing the bombardment of information and data and the effect it has on our bodies, and I've got lots of lovely diagrams, and maybe I can share that with you, separately in a Facebook group or something. So in your own time, if you like, you can flip through that. But here's one little statistic. So this is current. This is 2020. Every 2 days, we, meaning the world, every 2 days, we create as much information as was created from the dawn of time up until 2003. Deep breath in, out. So in 2 days, typically in 2 days on planet Earth in 2020, we are creating as much information as would have been created from dawn of time, and we can debate separately when that is, but you get the idea, from right up until 2003. Okay, so that's a very short time. What is that? That's like 17 years that has happened. 17 years is not long enough for our brains and our bodies and our lifestyles to have adapted and evolved to meet that. Because I often hear one sort of take on this is that, yeah, but human beings are incredible, we can do all these things now, so we should do it. Or we're very adaptive, and you might even been hearing that put forward during this corona time. It's amazing how well we adapt, etc., etc. But look, I mean, it took 3 million years for us to go from reptile to mouse, right? 3 million years. So all of this happening, all of this technology, all of these changes to how we live, affecting the light, our sleep patterns, everything. 17 years is not really long enough for us to be fully adaptive to this kind of existence. Would you agree? Oh, there's something on screen. Something flicked. Ignore it, unless I say don't. I'm checking in with you again. Now you can see it. PowerPoint is showing now, although we've come a bit fast forward to my slide. Someone's controlling my PowerPoint, and it's not me. It's not me.
Yeah. Sorry, it's me. I was trying to find which slide you're up to. If you wanted to tell me, I can get it there.
Shall we leave it? Shall we leave the slides? Just because otherwise, yeah? Yeah. That's okay. I was only up late doing it. No, I'm joking. It's fine. I can send it to you, our friends here online. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I apologize that you're stuck with me. Okay, just close your eyes if you get bored of me, and just sit. But there is some good stuff on the slides, right? So I will refer here and there to it. Okay, where were we? Oh my God, what are we going to do in this world that is constantly bombarding us and making us compare ourselves to other people and making us feel that nothing is ever enough? What are we going to do? Well, it's in this climate, not surprisingly, that meditation has arisen, and it is big. You'll know, won't you? There's apps out there that are being used by millions of people at a time to meditate. It's become part of the norm in our languaging. Thank you, Krista. Thank you. Oh, good. I feel better now. Apparently, it's all okay. See, good camaraderie. So yeah, we can see, you know, where and how, because meditation is as old as we are, right? People have been somewhere meditating forever, and now it's become a thing. So and we can see why. I mean, meditation offers that antidote to that overwhelm. And what I was going to add to that is, if meditation is this wonderful antidote, which it is, I'm not here to diss meditation, you know, as a yoga meditation teacher. But if it is so wonderful, here's some things to consider, which might apply to you, why you've logged on to this session. Why aren't we all doing it? Why is the drop-off rate really high? So what I read, it's always a Harvard Business Review, isn't it? But anyways, one of those that said 75% of people who try meditation drop it after 3 months. And it's something like only 5% meditate every day. Okay, so considering it's out there and you've got all this support now, the click of a phone app, you know, it isn't that kind of inbuilt routine that it might be looking like it is for many people, even though it does these wonderful things. And, you know, this is understandable because we are in this climate, we are wired to not just stop, to not just be with what is, right? So the challenge is understandable. It's not a reflection of our incapacities. It's actually a reflection of what we are dealing with. I also wanted to put in there, and you'll get this when you see your slides. I've got these mischievous pictures of they're all kind of Gettyized, perfect images of people meditating. So I think there's also a slight issue with how meditation is presented. It's presented as, this is how you look, this is what happens, big claims about what it does for you in your life. And we have, there's a perception issue, there's a barrier issue, just like with a lot of well-being and wellness right now. And you believe it, supermodel Gazelle is now telling us how to meditate. Apparently she is a guru now. Sorry, that just came up in the news this morning, so it's very contemporary. But you know, there you are, kind of just trying to get by and wake up in the morning and feel okay and get through the day, and then you're shown these ideas of what meditation should be like. And so, you know, even with the best will of the world, if that's not what you can relate to, you're either not going to do it, or at worst, it's going to make you feel bad. And believe you me, I get emails daily from students and from clients, and reading between the lines is a sense of feeling bad about either how they're practicing or not practicing enough or not doing it right. You know, and that kind of defeats the point in the first place. Okay, so yeah, I am reading your notes, and as I just want to reiterate something I shared at the beginning, I don't want you to feel what I'm sharing is definitive. There's going to be lots of other causes and situations, and you know, both factual and personal, in a lot of what I'm suggesting. Okay, so I'm quite aware of that, but I did want to try and still get a bit of an overview. Then there is this idea that you've probably heard this one a lot. If you meditate, you'll be calm. And also, when you meditate, you'll be able to be free of your thoughts or what's bothering you. So what was going to occur here was a series of slides called Mythbusters, and I was just going to go through a few of those myths, just, you know, really for our FYIs. And again, you know, if that's what you're told is on offer, right? If you're told that is your potential reward and you're not getting it, you are going to drop it. You're not going to do it. And then you just end up still in the cycle of where you're at. So, so hopefully that brings us, because I want to practice with you, to why I've come to just sit. So that was like 40 minutes of explaining why now I just sit. Because even knowing all those things that I've just shared with you, I still, in my own world and in my own life, need something simple, doable, non-expectational, something that will happen, something that I can fit into my life, something that comes with no preconceptions. And so for me, that is just sit. This hasn't happened all at once, but what I have found is that there are lots of lovely little ways I can just sit. And I have in recent times and in recent years shared them with students, clients, friends, and family, and they love it. It even led to, and I promise you this isn't a plug, but it even led to me writing a book, because I'm like, these are really simple and lovely. There's only one of me. I can't just go around trying to, share these things. And also that's a little bit not my style to try and say, hey, everyone do this. So I did end up writing a book about it, and then putting lots of these little daily ways you can just sit. If you recall, we probably had some friends here who joined a little bit after the start. But at the start, when we had that 1 minute and we just sat, it's not so easy, right? Maybe it is for you. Okay, so for me, it's not so easy, having said just sit, to just sit. We still need a bit of anchoring, bit of structure. So with these little practices, and none of them are longer than 5 minutes, all of them can be done in 1 minute. They're anything from 1 to 5 minutes, these practices, any time of day. And even though I'm calling it just sit, they can be done lying down on your sofa or on a park bench. So they're short, they're accessible, they offer just a little bit of structure, and hopefully they are inherently compassionate. Inherent in these supposedly simple practices, will do one at least, is an understanding of the human condition. We want the information, we're wired, we're this, we're easily distracted, we do compare. An understanding of what we're dealing with in the world, right? It's inherent in that. So then what are you going to do? All right, A, B, C, this, and then you're done. Okay? That's where we're going with all this, or certainly I am. I would love to engage with you and get your questions, but how about we do one of these practices that I've just mentioned? I will guide us into it. Which one shall I pick? There were 3 potential ones I was going to do with you, but we're of time. We might get a chance for a second. Maybe if we do one and you really like it, I'll just zip it and we'll do a second one after that. See where we are at from there. Hopefully that sounds okay. Okay, so let's do a practice. Let's do a just sit practice. Or if you're lying down, that's fine too. You can, even if you're standing, actually, that's fine. Cool. And this one is called Arrive Here. Okay. This actually is a practice that I find is wonderful any time of day, whatever I'm doing. I just think arrive here and I can do it. I'll share it with you now. Oh, bell. I'll do that again. We'll have a bell. Of course, when you do this yourself, So here we go. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, however you're sitting or not, I invite you to hear inside of you, just with your own voice, to say the words, and of course do this in your own first language or as it comes, to hear these words: arrive here. Okay. Then take a breath in and out. And now take your mind down to your feet and feel your feet. And if they are in connection with anything, feel that connection. Boom. Now take your mind up to your sitting bones. And if you're sitting, notice the feeling of what you're sitting on or with. And if you're not sitting, just feel your hips and pelvis and back. Just acknowledge it. Now let your mind go upward and feel your chest. Whatever you feel there, tight or open breath or not feeling the breath, just as if it were you're putting a little dot there with your mind, chest. And then take your mind up to your forehead, or if you like, just your head. So it could be whole of your head or your forehead. You can even label these areas of your body if you like, depending on what works for you, or you just have your mind guided there. Okay. Now put it all together. Put your feet together with your hips and back, together with your chest and your head, and feel the whole of your body. Acknowledge the whole thing, and breathe in and out. And then the final thing is to say in your own inner voice, I am here. And that's it. So that was 2 minutes. So we started with saying, arrive here. That's like an invitation. It's like you're saying to yourself, come on, arrive here. Chances are you're not here yet, right? Then you go feet, hips, chest, head, whole thing, I am here. And that's it. And chances are, you feel a little bit more here, right? Now imagine if you did that whenever you didn't feel here.
Sorry, Divya, it's a lovely practice. We do need to wrap it up now as we have the next starting in 10 minutes.
Okay. Have I got 1 minute to wrap?
You have 1 minute.
Okay, thank you. Well, thanks for doing that. Thanks for doing that practice. As I say, if you didn't, that's fine too, right? You're listening, you're here. That's wonderful. So as I say, there's lots of these little practices, getting quiet, going from out to in, feet on the ground, okay? They can be as long or short as you like. I just wanted to share with you, they work. They work not just for me, they work for the people I've been fortunate enough to share them with, people who wouldn't dream of doing meditation, but people who do meditation as well. So it can be added in. It can be just something you do. You don't have to label it or yourself, and then just see what occurs. And you know what? If it isn't this, try and find something that works for you, bearing in mind what we're all dealing with in this world now. And then just give it a... So thank you. Thanks for sharing. Sorry for the presentation issue. I'm very happy to share that with you though. And thank you to everyone who's joined. I really appreciate you giving your time and your presence to this. Thanks.
Thank you, everyone. I've just put Divya's website in the chat if you want to check her out there. I'm also reposting some of the links I put at the beginning of the session. If you haven't already, join us in the Facebook group. Someone is asking the title of your book.
Oh, thank you. It's called Finding Peace in Difficult Times. Thank you for asking. It's on Amazon. So if you put Finding Peace in Difficult Times, or you put Divya Kohli in Amazon, you'll either get a TV presenter, not me, or me. Me. Right? Yeah. Thanks for asking.
Hey, thank you very much, everyone. We now have an interview with Jamie Catto starting. So if you go to your embodiment portal, you should get the link to the interview with Jamie Catto. Thank you.